Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm in the garage. Haven't used those pieces of equipment in a while. Hope to use them one day, I think. Jiminy crickets. It's been a while. So I was kind of feeling that vibe. I don't know, maybe you're feeling that vibe too, is we're moving through phase 1 or phase 1.5 of this whole thing, and we're getting ready for the next phase of it all. And I think today I was a little overwhelmed by it's gonna be a long haul, this whole thing. I think we're about to see the once everybody gets sprung from the cave, that being in the cave kind of on quiet time for the last, I don't even know how long, 2 months. This was the easy part, man. And we're gonna get out and the world's gonna start moving again, and we're gonna find out how much actual damage has been done to to our intermingled system, So we're going to find out really how much we depend upon every one of our neighbors in our vast country and our vast planet, of how interconnected it all is. And I think, today I felt the overwhelming space about that, if you will. And I'm like, I can feel a certain level of tension about how, and just feel a different, the energy field's changed. People are going to begin to emerge into their new reality. And I don't think anyone really knows what the new reality looks like. I think it was pretty easy for everyone to just go, okay, I'll stay at home, and go from there. And it's been a long haul. Do we even really know how to do what we used to do? So, the paradigm has absolutely 100% shifted for the better in a lot of ways. And I hope that the kindness that we all learned is a super necessary component to human existence is going to carry us through this next phase of this reality, because I think the real stress is about to happen. The real ramifications of the mind virus, right? The fear that people are going to have because their attachment to stuff and the old system. And I think there's a certain mentality that, we're going to come out of this whole thing and, flip the switch. And I seems like we've been doing this a little too long. The fact that we're all not out restarting this engine, still somewhat alarming. So I think people are going to start to get really stressed here, and over the next 60 to 90 days. I think more so 90 days from now. What's it? I don't even know what time. It's May, June, July. Let's take a look at the scene at the end of July, beginning of August. It's going to be hot, humid in a lot of places. Humidity sucks, dude. And all that economic chaos is going to really start catching up with everybody, the ripple effect of it all. And so I was sitting here today, and I, me being a person who does try to focus in on reality and try to manifest a new reality, I was like, the first thing you have to do is kind of know what the downsides of your manifestation might be, and the upsides of your manifestation. And, there's going to be a lot of work ahead. There's no more days off. Like, even this whole experience of being in whatever they want to call this thing, house arrest, has not been any days off. It's been a definitely show up and try to stay in the day you're in, which can be a full-time job sometimes. I mean, the amount of accumulated stress that people must be having, and I think a lot of people are going to emerge from this thing and be like, okay, now I can get busy, and I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think those real smart people that everybody's chosen to listen to are idiots. And I think our number one job besides getting the economic engine going is retaking the local landscape of the political system. Is we need to take over all of our city governments and our county governments and our state governments, because the people that are in charge of these cities and counties and states apparently are somewhat incompetent and they don't seem to have our best interest at heart as a society. So I think I'm feeling a little bit of like that overwhelmingness of that is like a lot of work ahead, and what is that work exactly? I don't think anyone really knows what we're gonna do. It's funny. Today I was thinking about, I'm gonna do the final blindfolded bowl cut here in a second, and not today, but in a minute. And then, I'm going to go and find a local independent barber or something and have him like trim my hair just to support the business. And I think there's going to need to be a lot of that is our number one job is going to be to not go for convenience and to go find all these struggling, independently owned mom and pop businesses and help them stay afloat. The interconnected nature of our society. It's funny. Everyone's like in California. The distraction is the beach is reopening. Or the beach is reopening. You want all these empty parking lots for these office buildings. That's what you want reopened. The beach. Who cares about the beach? I personally don't. I want to see everybody getting back to work, because I do realize but I think we can take a new energy into that. I think that our old system has proven itself to be absolutely broken anyhow, so we need to reinvent the wheel essentially. But we need to get everything up and running to in order to do that. And I think there's a daunting task ahead of us, a definite minefield that we're going to have to walk through. I think it's like one of those weird analogies, like if this even works, is the start of this thing was like, it's like a battlefield. Like we just ran through the open battlefield. And now I think as we come out of our caves, it's a minefield ahead of us, and there's a lot of traps, and a lot of people are gonna come unglued. I have to admit, I'm a little worried about that. Not on just a level as the ripple on it all is how is that all gonna play out? I look at my garden in here and I go, it's more of a exercise of participation versus like that thing could help me live through any sort of the next phase. So I think the next phase is going to be a really intense period. And I was doing that today. I was out here in the beginning of the day. I was just very like, whoa, there's like going to be a very intense period coming up. And I'm like, it just kind of overwhelmed me, and it was like sort of daunting. It's that journey, right? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one footstep. And I figure, we're about, 50 miles into our 1,000-mile journey, and just suddenly realizing that there's 950 miles to go on this journey. It's like, oh my goodness, man. And you look out at what that journey is, and you've been walking through a relatively easy patch of it, and you see like some mountains up ahead, some desert sections. You're like, do I have enough water and food? If you take it on a backpacker's mentality, is my gear gonna make it? And so I think I was doing a little mental gear checklist on this whole thing, and I was like, wow, man, like, what do you need for this leg of the adventure? I got surfboards and tools and stuff. I got stuff, like, but none of that's gonna get us through the thing. None of this stuff matters if the system eats itself. So I think about what is going to be the most important component moving forward, and it's definitely like it is like a positive mental attitude, but I think it's also not sticking your head in the sand and being like, okay, as we come out of this thing, like we have a little bit of slack time, and I think it's time to gear up and know that, get mentally ready, because now it's been so many, it's morphed into so many different exercises of the human experience and overcoming these obstacles of the mind, of the emotions, of your relationship with God. And you get to this thing and like, all right, our next thing's going to be this huge interaction with our fellow humanity. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of people weirding out about keeping their face diapers on and physical distancing, and then at the same time scrambling to try to reopen their businesses. And a lot of people, I think, are going to find out that their business is done in the water, and then the ripple effect on all these people that depend upon rent to sustain themselves. The ripple effect on this thing is going to be huge. And I'm one of those, like, I don't dwell. I look at it all as a chance to succeed. I think that we have a potential for the biggest boom in humanity right now. And I think, yeah, we've gotten a good look at it. The way we're using energy and the way we're supplying ourselves with goods and services has been a broken paradigm. Like, me, I constantly am saying, like, how can any of this work as long as you have cargo container ships plying the ocean using bunker fuel? And I think that yeah, man, we all do need to like realize that we've gone mad as a world society, and all of a sudden we're here, and we do need to make stuff locally. We need to figure out how to manufacture everything in a localized manufacture chain and distribution chain, and begin to really use our resources more effectively. And it's funny. I was talking to my friend, and they were like, "Oh, well, yeah, like we'll go and patronize like restaurants and this and stuff." And I go, "Yeah, but like if you're really like paying attention, dude, you're not blowing your excess cash on a restaurant today when you probably might need that in 4 months from now to pay for the nut on this inflation or deflation or whatever kind of like monetary warble is coming." I mean, I believe in a world of abundance, but it's just this thing where like, we're like, I think there's this big myth that all of a sudden everyone's going to come out of here and go rushing into restaurants and all these stores and stuff and like spend money. But does anyone really have any money out there, especially the people who have lost their jobs? And then those who are sitting on their savings, are they going to just run out and start like burning through their savings? Like, I don't know, man. So it's definitely a flinch test. There is a flinch test coming, because we've all played it cool, and generally speaking, like, we're going to emerge from our cave after staring at shadows for 2 months, and we're going to be a little like snowblind. I don't know how else it's going to be like. It's going to be like that thing. You come out of a dark cave and you're like, the bright light shocks you, and it's a new world. So I was feeling that overwhelming nature, and I guess that I'm babbling more about. So I get to the solution. What was the solution today? I went and I communicated with other human beings. I went and got together, and the blessing of being an alcoholic is I get to go tap into other 12 steppers and share my experience, strength, and hope with them, and realize that I'm not alone, and that actually, because I have the tools of a recovering alcoholic, like, I'm not sweating this, dude. My life was a pile of rubble when I first got sober. Made this thing out here nothing, dude. In one sense, dude, I didn't know my ass from my elbow, dude. And then I look at and later through sobriety, the losing the house and all my stuff and almost getting divorced, and like, I've been through the ringer on it all. So I know what to do on like a proceed forward mentality, but I think the overwhelming nature of it all is we're gonna have to carry a lot of people on our backs. And I don't mean like dead weight, but I mean like spiritually and emotionally, like we're gonna have to be super strong and centered to help other people who might crack and be overwhelmed by this, and lift their spirits up and be like, all right, man. And so I think that's what I kind of am getting at is emotionally we got to get recentered to get out of ourselves and into like lifting other people up, right? This isn't about me anymore. This is about like my community, the planet I live on, my world, the world population, because we've seen that there is no government. There are no people in charge. There's just incompetence, man. Utter and complete and total incompetence. So we got to seize the opportunity to lead ourselves and lead ourselves forward. I don't know, I'm extremely positive about this whole thing, but I also have to go and sit and be like, this is like a regroup. So I'm out here cleaning the garage, man. That's what I'm doing. The garage was sort of a staging area for the what was initially looked like sort of an apocalyptic event, and now it's regrouping for the next phase of this thing, which could equally be that on a slow burn. But the first thing I have to do is organize my lifeboat, make sure my lifeboat is watertight, that I'm spiritually like watertight, and that I can go in and start rowing my lifeboat around the sea of humanity and fish those out of the water who are willing to row. Because at this point now, man, there's no time to it's going to be like emotional triage moving forward. Like, yeah, there's people that aren't going to be able to like handle it, and I don't know what to do with those ones that have like the glimmer, like, okay, like, get in the boat, dude. Let me dry you off and give you some water and put an oar in your hand, and like, let's get going, baby. Let's row this boat merrily down the stream, because life is but a dream. Anyway, this is The Illusion. I thought I'd just chime in sort of a regular video here and start making more from the garage. I kind of like this background now that I'm looking at it. It's very, this is a good spot for me to talk. I found that, right? Anyway, I'm signing off. You got anything to say, Owl?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I just want to play.
All right, he just wants to play. And this is The Illusion. I'm out. Take care of each other. Be strong. Use the name tags. Don't forget to pray.